Welcome, everybody, to tonight's show. We are talking about Billy. I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't be like Billy and how your routine is really the problem. Right after the intro. So Sunday, I was out running, and I run the lake. Jump on the street here, run around the lake, 7 miles. I do that every weekend, and I'm getting back into it. I took about a 2-year slowdown hiatus. Yeah, somewhere in there where I ran more occasionally. Now I'm trying to get back into the groove of where I was about 2 years ago, which was a much easier and better pace. But I was running the lake, and all of a sudden it just dawned on me as I was looking down at my pace watch that I wear, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, and all of a sudden I'm slowing down. I'm going, oh, I should slow down here, or I could walk here, and then all of a sudden it dawned on me about a story that when I used to facilitate the Financial Peace University that Dave Ramsey does. You see Dave's book over there, Total Money Makeover. Feel free to buy that. It's a good book. You'll do yourself well with that. But a story that he told during that course was about his sister who wanted to be in a rodeo. She wanted to do the steer roping. And how you start that out is you start out with a goat, because goats don't run as fast. They're not as dangerous as a steer would be, or a calf would be. And so you work your way up. You start with goats and that. And so the story he used to tell was about how his sister, so they bought a goat, and I'm going to call the goat Billy. That's where Don't Be Like Billy comes in. And that goat would run the same path. They'd release it, it'd run out, and you'd chase it with the horse. You'd rope it, pull it down, tie its legs, and then that was timed. So the goat would do, though, it would run the same path every time. So it wore out that path in the grass. It wore that same path out, and she'd hit about the same timing. She'd get the goat and then tie it up. So she'd lasso it in about the same time every time she did it. And so what happened was Billy then got to a point where you could release that goat, it'd run down, it'd hit that spot, and it would just lay down. And it quit right there. So they'd have to bring in a new goat, obviously, to keep the training going as far as learning to be able to lasso it. But the lesson there is we have a tendency in our own life to do the same thing and follow the same path and go down the same road to work, or do the same thing in a repetitive motion, but we're not getting any farther in life. And our goals, as we set them up, we may set up a goal saying that we want to, have our home paid off, but what are we going to do? We make the one single payment. We don't make a double payment. We don't do certain things. The majority of us, there's going to be some of you out there that may be doing it right, but there's some that are going to be doing the minimum payment. Well, the minimum payment then is, if you have a 15-year mortgage, you're going to pay it off in 15 years. You make double the payments, it's going to be paid off in 10 years or less, right? So 30-year mortgage, same thing, and car payments, things of that sort. Those are the most obvious ones. If we do the same thing, we're going to get the same results. And when I was running, I caught myself hitting the same spot and then allowing myself to walk, or telling myself, hey, coming up, I can walk. So on Sunday, I ran on Saturday, and on Sunday, I caught myself doing that in the first part of my run. So what I decided to in the last part of my run was that I was going to change it up. I was doing a different route. Well, then that made me, all of a sudden, I was just pacing. I was just running at a better pace that way because I wasn't my mind wasn't preemptively signaling me that I could slow down or I could stop or my progress could be impeded, right? Because that's what I was doing. I was impeding my progress along the same route. I was allowing myself to slow down. So just a simple detour, changing the way I was doing it, was making my mind work in a different way. And it's something that as a runner, I don't know if any of you are runners out there, but as a runner or someone that's in a competitive, could be biking, could be anything of that sort, where you're occasionally going into a race or into a timed event. When you get into a timed event, it's the same thing. You can all of a sudden you're in a different area, and it's amazing how you can go faster. Yes, you're feeding off the energy of the other competitors, but also you're in a different area, so you're not all of a sudden allowing yourself to go that same route and slow down in a certain area or speed up in a certain area, and then or do certain, get into the routine, the same routine. And in a non-competitive way, just think of it on a daily basis. Think of all the things that you do that limits you. Just family. You come up with ways that are limiting. You get up, instead of getting up earlier so that you can do something before, like, your kids get up, and you have to take care of your kids and get them ready for school and things of that sort. So maybe that's something where it's like instead of sleeping in and then getting them out of bed and that whole routine, maybe it's that you get up an hour earlier and do some more me time for yourself, whether it's meditation, whether it's a workout, whether it's just having your solitude, getting up and having that solitude to yourself before you have to deal with all those other things. It could be, hi, Kyle. Happy birthday, Kyle, by the way. It's Kyle's birthday today. Everybody wish him a happy birthday. I should have a cake for you, Kyle. But don't limit yourself. Take a different route. Do a different routine to your day and make it conscious to do that. Let's start tomorrow. Let's start right now. Let's do something different. So let's consciously write down your list of things that you're going to do tomorrow. If you don't make a list, that's a change of your routine. All of a sudden, now you're making a list of all the things that you have to do tomorrow. Different things of that sort. Just make a different routine. Another story that comes to mind when I was writing this down and going through for tonight's show was the story that Zig Ziglar, Ember hates Zig Ziglar, because he states the obvious. He's Mr. Obvious. But Zig Ziglar used to have a story. Oh, you're on a diet there, Kyle? That's okay. Life is a diet, right? So Zig Ziglar used to tell a story about the daughter that came in and said, "Mom, your ham is always so delicious. Your ham is just the best. And why do you cut the ends off of your ham?" And she goes, "I don't know. Your grandmother used to do it, so that's why I do it." And so the daughter goes in and talks to Grandma and says, "Grandma, Mom, what is the secret to that ham? Because you cut the ends off and ends of the ham off. Why did you do that? Mom didn't know why. Why did you do that?" And she goes, "I don't know. Your great-grandmother used to do that." And so they go to the great-grandma that's there at the holidays and says, "Great-grandma, why do you cut the ends of the ham off and before you bake it? What is that the secret to why the ham tastes so delicious and that?" And she's like, "No. The pan that we had was too small, so we always had to cut the ends of the ham off to fit it in the pan before we could put it in the oven." But that's the whole moral to the story. Sometimes we do things and there's no real rhyme or reason to it. We just do it because someone else did it. I might be pacing myself, running, and that because someone else You know, what's my my good pace is somebody else's bad pace as far as running goes. But there, sometimes we do things because of that. So think about it. Take a logical reasoning to it and kind of break out of the norm. I'm going to tell you right now, break away from the norm, because that's what makes the exceptional people exceptional. Yeah.